Panda. I got broads in Atlanta, just took the lean in the family. Credit cards and the scammers, hitting the licks in the band. Legacies.
Shoots, did you bring the halakahiki? This lure will not be the same without it.
Hello guys and welcome to my channel. It is Fresh Prince here today and we are playing Smite in the Joust Arena. We have to my left hir-rez, to the right we have Kamazot who's gone wandering about, I don't know where to. We are playing against a Guardian, Kumbhakana. We're playing against a Hunter, Chiron, and we're playing against a Maid, Anubis. Okay, a fun fact for you guys today. It is said with Ah Puch that when you hear a screeching owl, it is said you are going to be dead within the next 10 seconds, and that's possibly why in the Smite game when Ah Puch uses his first spell you hear something similar to a screeching owl. Okay, and for those of you who don't know the abilities of Ah Puch, them are quite AoE damage abilities. First ability, which is called Corpse Undead Surge, sends corpses to a target location and they deal damage upon arriving to that location. His second ability is called Corpse Explosion, which basically explodes corpses that are in a certain area. And his third ability is called Fleeting Breath, which he throws a corpse in a certain area, and if it lands on a guard it sort of poisons them and it leaves a corpse there which can be exploded later. And then his ability, his final ability, which is called Emptying the Crypts or Empty Crypts, basically he creates aerial wave of corpses flying at you, and if you're an enemy god basically you don't want to be in that area because it lasts for about 5 seconds or so and it does deal a lot of damage, especially when our Puch is at level 20. Okay, so what technically are the benefits of playing Ah Puch? What are his strengths, what his weaknesses? I'll say one of the strengths of Ah Puch is basically the fact that he can deal a lot of damage over a short period of time, especially when he's at level 20 and when he has both stacks on his corpses and also his corpse explosion as well. And again, as you can see, he doesn't need to be at the forefront to deal those damage. All he has to do is stay back, send the corpses to that location and explode them, and they deal a lot of damage without him taking any damage at all. The disadvantages, however, of playing Ah Puch is simply that he has no escape at all, and as well his abilities are not targeting, so they go in a straight line. So that means if the god walks out of that area they're not going to take any damage, and basically you wasted your mana. And as well, in comparison to other mages such as Anubis, his abilities can, apart from his ultimate, his abilities can be blocked by creeps. So all a god has to do is walk in front of a creep and the creep blocks it, and you basically wasted your mana, especially when you're not creeps, you're targeting the god. A creep is going to block it and that's annoying, and you just wasted mana again. So those are sort of the strengths and weaknesses of playing Ah Puch. However, he is a fun god to play. I mean, he does a lot of damage, and as well, if you do get the skin, which you can see in this game, he's just fun to mess about with and get into the opponent's heads, and you do that while staying safe. Like I said, if he has no escape, so if a Loki catches him one-on-one, you're kind of screwed, and unless you have like an Aegis, half of the time you're going to be dead, especially when you have little or no mana on you to do your abilities. And even that, you might still die. I mean, it's a Loki and Ah Puch. Okay, so for those who are not familiar with playing Ah Puch, I'll just run through quickly the items I get to to fit my style of play. Like I said, most people might go different items because they might want to deal certain amounts of damage. They might have different gameplay styles, but my gameplay style basically is to deal a lot of damage in a certain area as quickly as possible, whilst slowing them down as well for the enemy god to stay in that area long enough to take the full damage. So I normally start off with going Book of Thought. That's what I normally start off going with. I try to build that up as quickly as possible, and the reason why is simply so I can get my stacks on the Book of Thought as quickly as possible. However, a disadvantage of that is you are sacrificing movement speed, and you know, like I said, Ah Puch again is not one of those great people that has a good escape. So you know, it's something that you have to consider if it's something worthwhile getting, and if you're used to playing Ah Puch in that style. Okay, the next then I get obviously is I get the shoe of focus, and the reason why I get the shoe of focus over all the types of boots is simply because of its combination with the Book of Thought. The Book of Thought gives you 3% magic power based on 3% of your mana, if that makes sense. So it takes 3% of your mana pool and gives you that, basically transform that into magic power for you. Okay, so the reason why I go Shoe of Focus is because it gives me mana as well, which doesn't mean I need it in the first place, but then as well it also complements my Book of Thought by giving me more mana, increasing my 3%, the 3% of my mana pool, if that makes sense. Okay, the next thing I like to get then is Gem of Isolation, which does the slowing down for me. So like I said, the Gem of Isolation basically slow them down so I can deal my damage, focus my damage more. You know, if they stay longer in the area, I can put all my damage in that area and explode all my zombies, all my corpses, etc, etc. Is it etc? Whatever. Okay, so that is my gameplay, and the Gem of Isolation allows that. Basically, when my abilities hit an enemy guard, it slows them down in that area. Okay, allowing me to deal my damage and pull off my abilities and my skill. The next item I like to get then is the Rod of Tahiti, which sounds like something Ah Puch would have bought back in the day when it was alive, if it was ever alive. And this gives me a significant increase to my magic power. That's basically all it does, but the boost in magic power that it does is quite significant. The next item I like to get is the Spear of Desolation, which improves my magic penetration and gives me magic power. And lastly, I like to get the Obsidian Shard as well, which also gives me a nice boost to my magic power and also increases my magic penetration as well. So that is the build that I like to go to. Like I said, it does differ to other people's, it differs depending on this gameplay I'm going with or against which opponents I'm going with, but rarely do I feel the need to change this build. You know, however, if I'm playing against a Hell, for example, or a mass healer like maybe Aphrodite, for example, then yeah, I might change this build, you know, to counter them also. Or if I'm playing like, I don't know, if I'm playing against like a team that have mass card control abilities, then I might sacrifice some of my items and go like a defensive item instead. Okay, so that is my general build that I like to go. Okay, so what I'd like to say just lastly as a tip is tips against if you're playing against an Ah Puch. What are the things that you know you can do to reduce you getting killed or you know getting trapped in his corpses and getting exploded? The first tip I would like to say is noticing the limits of Ah Puch abilities. Ah Puch abilities are not targeting abilities, so as a result they're not gonna follow you to to wherever you go, and then they're going to get you whatever. His abilities work in they go in a straight line. So the best way to sort of like counter that is for you to go sideways. Half of the time, not granted all of the time, a good Ah Puch player might still be able to get you, but half of the time, if you're walking straight sideways, you are going to miss Ah Puch's abilities. And as you can probably see in this video, and that reduces the amount of damage that you're going to get. However, like I said, a good Ah Puch player should be able to still catch you, but then it also depends on your skill as well. Okay, so thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a like, a thumbs up will help so much, and leave the comments below so I can review them and reply to them, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then.
Panda. I got broads in Atlanta, just to throw me in the family. Credit cards and the scammers, hitting the licks in the band. Legacies.